Reedy with Stargent IoT, and I appreciate you joining for this. I'm excited to give you this information. There's been, if you're familiar with the Kathrein RFID line, that's great. There's been some real changes and some exciting new products. And if you're not, then this is going to be very informative for you. So thanks for joining. Just by way of introduction, again, I'm John Reedy. I'm the founder of Stargent IoT, and I'll talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. But importantly, I'm joined here by Christian Schneevinger with Kathrein. He's the head of sales and partner management and a longtime employee, and has seen this line grow and has been a big part of its growth. And we're lucky to have him here today.
Welcome.
And just a bit about the agenda. We'll run through a couple of company overviews super quick. I promise it's not going to be a long commercial by any stretch. And then we'll get straight into the products, use cases, and Q&A. I've got this scheduled for 30 minutes. So the goal is to be mindful of your time and really try to hit the value level at a high point with our content here today. So a little about us. We're headquartered in McKinney, Texas, just north of Dallas. Our warehouse is actually in what's called DFW Airport. It's in a free trade zone because, as you can probably guess, it really helps with the importing. So we're bringing products in to our facility there. It helps with the speed and delivery as well. And we're an IoT solutions company, and we enable our partners to deploy a wide variety of IoT solutions and an endless array of use cases. We have everything from the RFID products that we'll talk about today to sensors and devices, BLE, LoRaWAN products, and we allow our customers to do everything from build private 5G networks to monitor air quality to all of the RFID use cases that we'll talk about today. Now I'll introduce Christian. Christian, if you don't mind, give just a brief overview, and then you can get into the brief introduction, and then you can get into the company overview as well.
Sure. Thanks, John, for handing over. Thanks for having me in this webinar. Yeah, my name is Christian. I'm the head of sales and partner management globally for Kathrein Solutions. We are based in Germany, in Munich area surroundings. And yeah, I would like to introduce ourselves a little bit, our strategy today, and also how we cooperate with John and his team and also other partners in the US. Yeah, here you already see our passion, also our slogan. So really want to enable our partners to always have the best technology in hands to support their end customers. So when we already come to the next slide, you immediately see where we come from. So we are based, as mentioned, in Germany, surroundings of Munich. So we are 40 kilometers in the south of Munich. This is our headquarter here in Rosenheim, also where the Kathrein facility was founded more than 100 years ago. Our production plant is in Saxony, nearby Chemnitz. So we have everything in hand, all our R&D, professional services, the sales team, product management, and for sure all the production and logistics is here in Germany and in our hands. And most important for us is on the left, the last point, our partner and distribution network. Here today with the guys of Stargent, which we already cooperate since years already under the old Kathrein structure with the Kathrein Inc. in the US, and now with Stargent and John's team. And we are really happy to re-engage the US market in the coming years. On the next slide, Yeah, you see our slogan. So enabling technologies for digital transformation. This is what we stand for, and this is what we want to hand over to our partners. We are nowadays in the IoT business, or formerly Auto ID business, already since 2005. So we started our doings in 2005 with the first, not so nice looking reader, but already well performant reader, which is on the very left side. Then we get a lot of feedback from the market, and we saw that very important is to have a kind of intelligence on the reader. So we were one of the first companies who established a operating module, so a Linux module, directly on the reader, so that our partners can work directly on the reader by implementing their own middleware, making an easy handover to the end customers, integrating data into SAP, etc., etc. In 2016, we made one big step in terms of this partner management. So we acquired one of our former solution and software companies to have a data integration middleware also enhanced. For us, it was important to support our partners as best as we can, so that they can support their end customers as best as they can. Meaning that our partners can decide to work directly on the Linux, having their own piece of software, stuff like that, or we support in terms of creating events out of all this raw data. And having an easy handshake between our at the end our infrastructure to their system. So we do not want to have a change in the infrastructure of our partners. We want to have their best support and an easy way of working. Then in 2017 we launched our new reader generation. In 2019 we also made a big step in the hardware environment. So formerly we were just in the identification business. Now with KRTLS, which is meant for Kathrein real-time locating system, we have a new ultra-wideband localization system, which is also made for ruggedized environment like industries, automotive industry, indoor as well as outdoor. Then in the further years, we also made some developments in our generation 3, which is the ARU 8500, which is an antenna integrated reader with a direction detection. Also then in a medium pricing level, ARU 2400, 1400 are also made for logistics environment, but mostly indoor. And also then different other types of antennas, which for example is our wide range 30-70 degrees antenna in 2022. On the next slide, you have then also our USPs. So our big USPs, first of all, that we have all in our hands. So it doesn't matter if all the hardware, RFID as well as ultra wideband, together with a piece of software which can be used. It's no must, but we want to provide our partners that support, that they can decide also in the different projects how they approach and get the customer. We have a professional service team and a big test center and laboratory where we can do tests for transponder tests, performance tests, kind like solution tests with a bidirectional gate here, all that stuff. We are also in the high security area where we can do, for example, prototype tests for the automotive industry. And what is also super important, which is our third pillar of success, more or less, is our OEM business, meaning customized developments for partners and end customers, always when there is a solution needed which is not available from the shelf. Can be intelligent fridge, can be a very special transponder. For all these different markets, what you see here. So everywhere when you come to a limit to say, okay, well, RFID, there is nothing on the market. Let's talk with us. We have a two PhD guys here who can do a lot of developments, and this is always with a lot of background. So it's always exactly fitting to what at the end customers are looking for. Here you see then in a big picture our markets, which is mostly manufacturing and logistics. Here also in these two markets, the automotive industry is included because logistics and manufacturing is also the automotive industry, but we have also key account managers here. So we kind of separate that a little bit. But this is our core business. More and more growing since the last 2 or 3 years is the healthcare environment. Here we have a lot of transponder developments and also asset tracking topics together with our partners. Where you have to identify some doctors, contracts, patients, wheelchairs, just assets. And also very important is the intelligent transportation systems. Everywhere where vehicles are driving on the streets, parking, tolling, concession charging, electronic vehicle registration, all this stuff can be done with RFID, and very often also in the US, in the other Latin American markets, and also the Asian markets, passive UHF RFID is a big market in that case. So this is also one of our core systems. Then what we do with regards to services for our partners is consulting, then POCs together, support, rollout support, and go live support. So we give that offer to all of our clients and partners and try to fill gaps. Quite often you see a little lack of whatever POC support, but the face to the customer is always the partner. So we try to fill these gaps and really try to get the partner in the best position in front of his customer. And that is all for these 5 topics. Then you have to click a little bit. From a go-to-market point of view. So we see us as kind of basement. We have our system and solution partners, and they are supplied by our distribution partners. We work with the distribution because we want to support, and this is especially important for broad regions like the US, to have an on-site stock and people on the ground. Because we cannot handle that from Germany, from one headquarter. And we try to enable all these partners to do their best job in terms of identification and localization systems at the customer sites. On the next slide, you see a little bit how we see that partner journey. So for sure, we need to get in touch with the guys. We have to onboard them. We have to see how their background is, what their customers is. So we need to really understand each other. For sure, they get trained and enabled by us to do things in terms of this integration or identification and localization systems, and to do all the integration and being the solution provider. Together we manage the pipelines, do all the forecasts, and then we start to do the nice things. So get into the first projects, get the first project sold, and then this is a super nice circle to really adjust our doings, adjust our pipelines, adjust our strategy together, optimize everything. We measure each other, and then it starts again to say, okay, again, we need there's a lack of training here. There's we can enable you in another technology, for instance. So then the thing is really getting interesting, and the revenue will come in that case then. On the next slide. see just again the bigger picture of the strategy, and then I'm already done. So we have our portfolio. This is our basement. We have the partner know-how. This is the basement, and then we can add a value to the end customer. So our portfolio, as mentioned, or John will also get into detail. RAIN RFID for identification, ultra wideband for localization, the software as a CAN for easy integrating raw data into ERP systems or into other software systems, or into the face to the customer. And then, as mentioned, the global partner network. So very often we also work with one or two partners in a project. One is, for example, responsible for the integration and solution. On the other hand, we have a transponder partner, and so we acquire all the different markets. And for sure, the value add what we provide is, together with our partners, we provide the best possible solutions which work and give the customer, the end customer, satisfaction. And we always also try to have a link to the end customers, because we want to understand that we also support the partners in meetings together with the end customer to show the end customers, those partners have the entire support of the manufacturing plant, of the manufacturing. So we are always very on the we touch the market, and this is very important for us always to understand the entire market, to provide to our partners the best support, and that we have always an eye on the market. Then I would like to hand over to John for the portfolio and solutions overview.
Thanks, Christian. Appreciate that, and thanks for the nice explanation of the ecosystem. I think that's important here. So we'll talk a little bit about the portfolio. We'll talk about the RAIN RFID fixed readers. We'll talk about the RAIN RFID antennas. I think we probably don't have a ton on the RTLS, but there are, I think, some information there. So, just as a high level, I'll cover that's an indoor-outdoor solution. It has dynamic operating modes and up to 5 years of battery life. And it, for your development purposes, for customization, has an open API and an SDK. And then we'll talk a little bit about the software as well through this process. First, to the readers. Important to note, ARU is the integrated antenna product line. So ARU 2400, ARU 3500, and the ARU 8500. And we'll get into detail on each of these. RRU, those are the standalone reader units, do not include an integrated antenna. And the RRU 1400 and the RRU 4500 series. On the RRUs, the 1400 is a fairly new product. As Christian indicated, it is, as opposed to the other products, it is intended mainly for indoor. It has an IP rating of IP40. So keep note of that. It's less expensive, but still very feature rich. It's for antenna ports, can operate in CRY, which is the Kathrein antenna linking technology that allows you to integrate, depending on the reader model, up to 32 external antennas linked antenna to antenna in a link. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the use cases as well, I think. And our RU 4500 series, again, standard with 4 antenna ports. This one has a dual core 800 megahertz PC built in. The LED visualization is programmable, so you can set the LEDs based on your programming, based on your needs. All green on a good read, all bad on a bad read. Various levels for different features within the reader as well. And then this series also optionally has Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth for the RRU4560, and then a 3G, 4G modem built in for the RRU4570. Now, for the ARUs, the ARU2400, again, very similar to the RRU1400. It's an IP40 and intended mainly for indoor use. It will power cry. So one thing you'll notice about the ARU series is they all have 3 external antenna ports as well. So we can actually run 4 different read points through these simultaneously. More using the cry technology if you have the cry technology as an option. It's not available on all the readers. And again, this one has an integrated smart shelf antenna, which we'll talk a little bit about when we get to the antennas. And the 3500, we're seeing a lot of interest in the 3500, and I'll just cover this quickly. In electric bus charging here in North America, that has been a very hot topic, and we've had a lot of trouble keeping these on the shelf because it's been accepted and it's a part of a new SAE standard for charging electric buses. Also has the dual core 800 megahertz PC built in. The LED programmables are there as well, and then a high security memory module. The ARU 8500 is a very interesting newer product, and it has 3 antenna ports, has a switch beam antenna for direction detection, which means you can do inbound and outbound receiving for returnable carriers or other things. It still has the dual core 800 megahertz PC, and this is also an IP40 protection class product. Now for the antennas, we'll cover this range here, and I'll give you a little bit of a decoder ring on this thing. The WRA are wide range, SMSH smart shelf, MIRA mid range, LORA low range. So these are designed for different use cases and different read profiles. First to the WRA 3070. This is a great new product. The product that it replaced was larger, and it contains an integrated mounting kit, which has been a big positive and been well received by the user community. So it comes with the mounting structure for pole mount or gantry mount. Using a lot of this in portal and vehicle ID for either tolling or parking. This is an IP67 product and has a read range up to 20 meters. The WRA 7070, this is another compact design. This thing is nice. It's about a 12-inch square, read range up to 12 meters. It's got a homogeneous reading field with the symmetrical lobe. So if you need patterns or you want to talk about that, let me know. We have those available. This one does have a cry interface, which is used for the switching polarization. So you can do left-hand circular, right-hand circular polarization changes. And this one is also an IP67 class product. Okay, the WRA 6060, again, familiar form factor here, about 1 foot square. And we've got a compact design, read range up to 5 meters for this one. Also has symmetrical lobe, which gives you the homogeneous reading field, and a very high front to back ratio. And if you're not familiar with front to back ratio, it means that we're not leaking energy in the back to get false reads. We're focusing the beam and all of the energy back out through the front to achieve our use case goals. Again, an IP67 product. This SMSH, that's the smart shelf antenna. These are a great product, super slim design, read range up to 3 meters. Again, we've got homogeneous selective reading field with a symmetrical lobe on this one. It's cascadable up to 32 antennas using the cry technology, which means we link antenna to antenna, not antenna to reader in these cases. So we'll cover a little bit about e-Kanban or other applications, tolling, vehicle ID. You can actually link these together without adding additional readers once you exceed the 4-port. And this one is an IP40 product intended primarily for indoor use. Okay, the medium range, it's a fairly small antenna, compact, slim design. It's intended to read up to about 2 meters. And this is good for group or individual readings. It gives you a nice read field and very, very good product. It gives you a lot of different options for reading. And this is an IP67 product as well. The low range, it's got a very high selectivity. It's designed to read around 20 centimeters, very small form factor, and it's good for near field applications. And again, an IP67 product. All right, we'll hit the use cases now. So these are great, and if you have questions, please feel free to put them into the chat, and Mike will cover those when we're done. Core application here for the dock door overhead read, which is a pretty standard read for a distribution center, auto manufacturing, those sorts of things. It's designed with limited overhead space. It works great with the ARU 8500 that we talked about and its integrated CSB antenna, CSB circular switch beam. And you can even use the Cry technology there as well to link several antennas together for maximum effect for your dock doors. We'll talk a little bit about kind of the software side. It gives you the ability to filter unwanted reads. I can filter by EPC, I can filter by tag type, I can filter by several different options to make sure that I'm only reading the tags that I want to read while maximizing my read area. Dock door gate, this one you've seen, gantry setup, forklifts traveling through. We're reading quickly, we're reading multiple tags. And for this, the RRU 4500 coupled with the WRA 3070 antenna, we can use the Cry technology to link several together. And this allows us to read at full forklift speed with multiple tags per load. e-Kanban, again, we talked about the smart shelf. You can see in the image, we've got the reader brought in, and then each of the green areas on the shelves are smart shelf antennas. So this is allowing us to monitor bins in a Kanban solution to be able to tell, okay, we're reading a tag, we're not. So we can handle replenishment, we can handle inventory, we know exactly what we have and where we have it. And this is leveraging either the RU 1400, which gives you up to 32 smart shelf antennas, or the ARU 2400, which gives you up to 25. We can filter false positive reads here, and we have a highly configurable and monitored scenario here. And we can even use the crosstalk software to integrate directly into the backend for any of these use cases. I've personally worked on several where we're integrating and doing auto receiving with an SAP system in the backend that's been integrated. This is for a large auto manufacturer. And with the e-Kanban, we can do auto replenishment, auto receiving, that sort of stuff. So it's a really nice feature set. All right, returnable transport sorting, another great use case. Got high-speed identification. We reduce tag performance, meaning we can save on tags. We have the RU 1400, the 4500, or the ARU 2400 with antennas spread out and building selective read zones on that. General forklift, meaning we've mounted an ARU 3500 or an RRU 14 or 4500 with an external antenna. This gives us an IP67 solution that is mounted directly on the forklift. Gives us the ability to read as we load. Assembly line, we've done some really nice applications globally here on these. I was involved in one here in the US that was a paint and inspection part for a cladding manufacturer, and it allowed us to deliver the client a lot of value along the way. We can tell if there is where a particular item is that's tagged is used. Cladding a lot of times has an integrated RFID tag that's built into the cladding. So we can tell what the part is, where it is. If it's a paint station, we can tell you which station it's in. If it's in assembly, we can track it through the process. If it's in inspection, we can continue to track it. So those are a variety of different RRU or ARUs and antennas, but also really nice solution if you're in auto manufacturing or manufacturing. All right, a couple more here, and then I think we'll get to some questions just because we're running a little bit long. The intelligent transport system, this is one of Christian's specialties, and he's done a lot of work globally for this, and whether it's tolling or ITS systems, it's really changed tolling and traffic control in a lot of places. And we've got a few different options here for the hardware, and whether we're using a license plate or a windshield mounted tag, it allows us to keep traffic flowing while handling either the identification or the tolling process. Railway and logistics. Again, we can tell you where, based on the reader location, a specific vehicle or train is, and we can help with maintenance optimization. Then, as I said, we'll talk a little bit about our TLS. It gives us item localization and location. It gives us tracking and tracing throughout the facility. We build the facility and we're able to tell with a very, very finite degree where within the facility it is. And we're using the Kathrein RTLS nodes and transponders in that. All right, so yeah, we talked about markets, technologies, and services. And when you build all three of those together and you look at the experience in various markets, the technology in the products, as well as the support that Kathrein brings, it's a great combination for partners and customers. And whether it's their development ability, their project experience, their work with large multinational companies that have accepted and built centers of excellence around their products, as a partner or as a new customer, you can't go wrong with this product. So just again, before we get to Q&A, we live as a company by our core values, and one of the most important to me is the right thing to do is always the right thing. And what that means for you as a partner is we're placing the value that we bring, we're placing our decisions around what's right for the partner, what's right for the customer. We don't put profit first. We don't put our goals and objectives first. We do the right thing for our partners, whether it be our manufacturing partners such as Kathrein or our customers. All right, Mike, we're just a couple of minutes long. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we do have one actually. This is in regards to asset tracking and process tracking. So it asks that, do we support any active RFID and the use cases for asset tracking and work in process tracking inside the buildings?
Christian, do you want to jump in on
Yeah,
that?
I could answer that. So yes, asset tracking as well as work in process tracking in the buildings is one of our core business. For instance, we do a lot of asset tracking in the Middle East, in also hospitals. Where we just say we have a door, what's going in and out, where are all the assets, a really localization, depending a little bit for sure on the environment. So this is always where you have to put a close eye on it. With active RFID, there have also been some projects in progress. We typically, for sure, we are experts in passive. So most of the topics we do with passive UHF RFID, also with regards to battery less and very cost effective transponders. This is typically our core, but for sure, at the end it's also possible. And for this work in process tracking, also here we have a lot of topics in the automotive industry, as well as in one very or latest project is on coffee machines, where we track the wagons inside the process flow up to the final assembling. Also this is everything done with RFID. What's nice in the asset tracking, as well as John mentioned formerly, is the RTLS system. Why an asset tracking? First of all, typically you have assets which are very expensive and big, or very often must be localized. So you use RTLS. You exactly want to know where it is. Cheaper stuff with very often also which is more amount around. You use RFID, but what is interesting with RTLS is that you can also, or our RTLS has an integrated NFC as well as RFID interface. What does that mean? You can spare battery lifetime, for instance, when you start reading when you are in the localization zone. As soon as you go out of that zone, you can spare battery lifetime as soon as you just switch the tag off, for instance. So we have always, or our entire portfolio is as scalable and modular as, from our point of view, possible. So you always can combine the two technologies, and for sure together with the software you can for sure combine it as well, so that you have at the end just an event which is meant asset A is there, asset B is on the stock 13, whatever. So just to make things short, yes, we support also active RFID with partners. Our common goals are RTLS with ultra wideband, as well as identification with RFID, but asset tracking as well as work in process tracking, is our applications of our core business.
Thank you, Christian.
Did we have any other questions come through, Mike?
None so far. Don't be
Okay,
shy,
well, great.
guys. If ever you guys have any more questions. Okay, we do have another one. So, what would be the coverage area per node of our UWB antennas?
Well, first of all, it's a node. It's correct, or anchor ultra wideband. The maximum distance between two nodes shouldn't be more than 40 meters, so 40 meters. This is the typical longest distance. But for sure, also here you have to see how the environment looks like. What we offer here is, as soon as we get a CAD file or floor plan of a customer, that we simulate and calculate the possible and fitting positions of nodes. Because, for instance, you have 4 edges, and in the middle there are 2 or 3 concrete, so metal concrete pillars or something like that. You have to see that you have a good coverage in the entire area. So perhaps 4 nodes in the 4 edges is too less. So you need to see that, for example, one of these concrete pillars or 2 needs to have a node as well. But as mentioned, the maximum distance shouldn't be more than 40 meters.
I think that's a great point, Christian. And that's, bring us your use cases, bring us your problems. Between the Stargent team and the Kathrein team, we have a lot of experience solving very, very difficult use cases in harsh environments. And as we get through this is a very high level overview, but we, meaning Stargent and Kathrein, are happy to sit down and talk about specifics or dig deeper into anything that you have. So bring us that, especially as we're talking about the RTLS or the ultra wideband solutions. Like we can come in and build a coverage map for you and show you exactly what it'll look like. Mike, anything else come through?
So far, that would be all.
Well, I'll say this. I know we're at about 44 minutes or so, but I thank you for your attendance. Recording of this should go out to you in the next day or so, so you'll have this, and our contact information is built in. Reach out to us, and we're happy to get into detail on anything that you heard today and provide any more information on products and services. So with that, I'll thank Christian. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate your expertise and your partnership. And thanks to
guys.
Mike. Mike's worked very, very hard to bring this together on our team. And thanks to you for attending.